So there's a few things that you're going to want to know about moving and living in South Jersey. And today we are going to talk about this anticipated upcoming market crash in 2023. Let's do it. Hey everybody, this is Kat Quarterman, broker sales associate and team leader of the Quarterman Group powered by Compass. If you are looking to see what it's all about eating, living, sleeping, playing in South Jersey, then you've come to the right channel. You want to make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also the little bell so you're notified each time a new video comes up. And honestly, we get so many people that we get to help who are relocating to South Jersey. We absolutely love it. So make sure that you hit us up by phone, email, text, day, evenings, weekends, and we'll be sure to help you too relocate and live in South Jersey. So what is all of this talk about the housing market is about to crash? Let's talk about it. Is it really crashing in 2023? I think that what most people are looking for, and that happened in 2008, you are not going to see in 2023. You're going to see more of a correction. Things are starting to cool down. So let's just talk a little bit. Where were we? Where were we for the last 2 or 3 years? Not coming, but in that pandemic period, what did we see? What we saw was that houses were not lasting. They were coming on the market and being sold within hours. Offers were being made as soon as people saw the home. Why is that? Rates were still pretty low, right? Rates have ticked up in the last year. I want to say maybe last year and a half, you started seeing them increase. They weren't at that 2%, that 2.75. I had lunch with a client yesterday and they remembered getting a rate of 2.75. So rates are not there, but that's where they were. So everyone was trying to get a piece of the real estate action. They were buying their first home, moving up, buying an investment property, buying a second home. They were doing it all. We also saw during the pandemic that people had cash, right? We also saw that there started to be like a relaxation with different mortgage programs. So now state programs were coming back, a little bit more leniency were coming back with the mortgage guidelines. So people were buying and they were able to buy and compete in a very, very competitive market. A market where houses were being sold in hours and being sold for sometimes $50,000 over the asking price. And the crazy thing, a lot of those homes were appraising for it as well. You have to remember, buyers drive and dictate the market. So a lot of times you think it's sellers, you think it's the mortgage, you think it's the realtor. It's not. It's the buyers. If they are out there and they're like, hey, I want to buy this house and I want to pay more for it and I have the cash to make up the difference, then that's driving the prices up, right? That's what the appraisers are looking at. What sold? What did it sell for? What are buyers willing to pay? And just to let you know, I sat in on an appraisal class the other day, and that's what the appraiser said, is that buyers dictate whether they want to pay $10,000 extra for a house that has an extra half bath, or do they want to pay $5,000? Or maybe the area has a half an acre lot, right? Or a quarter acre lot. How much more are they willing to pay for that house that has more of a lot or has that in-ground pool? So the buyers dictate that, and you guys drive the market. The other thing that we saw is that back then, so 2+ years ago, right, pre-pandemic, FHA deals were fine, VA deals were fine, seller concessions were fine. When we got into the pandemic, in the heat of the market, FHA became an undesirable mortgage financing option. Even VA became an undesirable financing option. I really felt horrible for my veterans because they were so used to buying a home at the 100% financing with the VA loan, and then also asking for a seller concession so they can get into the home with really no money out of pocket. And during the pandemic, that wasn't happening. They couldn't even get a home. Sellers were considering conventional financing over any of the government programs. So that's where we were, right? And as you started to see, I want to say maybe over the last 6 months, things started to cool down a bit. Rates started to tick up, right? And it was scary because rate adjustments were happening like midday. All of a sudden you call the mortgage person later in the afternoon and there was a price adjustment, and rates ticked up, which wasn't in the buyer's favor. But that really didn't stop buyers. Buyers who needed to move because their landlord decided he was going to increase the rent by $200 or more, they decided that, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy a home because this doesn't make any sense. We also saw that coming out of the pandemic, you had a lot of buyers who came from city areas because they decided that this 1-2 room living, no backyard or balcony wasn't going to cut it if they ended up going through that same type of pandemic situation again. So they started moving out of the cities and buying homes. And then you had renters. Rent started to increase and they decided, if I'm going to pay $1,500 a month for rent, I'd rather it be for something that I own. And I don't blame them, right? The thing about buying a home is different than renting because you can't decide, I don't like the neighborhood, I don't like my neighbors, so I'm gonna just pick up and move, because now you own a whole house. And it's not gonna be as easy to just pick up and move as it is when you're renting. So you have to, have a thought process with it, do a little bit of research and make sure that where you're moving to is an area that you can see yourself living in. I want to say for at least 3 years and sometimes longer, because you think that you're going to move right away and you end up staying in the same home. I know for me, it probably took me about 1.5 years before I actually had a fully furnished house when I moved into my first home. So it takes time and time goes by really quickly. I digressed, right? So where are we at right now? What kind of a market are we in? Right now, you are seeing that rates did tick up, but they are still at an historical low. I remember in my prior life when I was a mortgage person and people would call to refinance to an 8% rate because they had a 15% rate. I thought that someone just kind of like scammed them, but that wasn't the case. Back in the 80s, mortgage interest rates were at the price of like a credit card. So that's what our grandparents, bought homes at. But they also bought homes at a really cheap price. While today, rates are still at a historical low and prices, believe it or not, are pretty steady. They're not too high, they're not too low, they're pretty steady. So you're in a good market where you could get a good size house at a decent interest rate. We're also seeing that a lot of buyers who were on the fence, and we're saying, hey, I'm going to wait because they're talking about this market crash and I want to wait until the housing prices come down. They're getting off the fence and they're coming back into the market and they're looking for that home because they realize that rates are not going to be at 2% anytime in 2023. And if they don't want it to hike up to 8 and 10%, then they might want to start looking for that home today. And again, going back to rental prices. Rental prices are high. I don't know anywhere where you can get that studio apartment, that first apartment for $600 anymore. It's more like $1,200. And that's even in areas that you would say are not as desirable. You can't even get that cheap rent anymore. So we're also seeing right now limited inventory. So a lot of people were waiting for spring to come in, spring of 2023, before they started looking for homes. And they're finding that not that many homes came on the market as they expected. A lot of sellers who had that 2.5 rate, 2.25, decided that they're going to stay put and keep that low rate and make their house work for a little bit longer. So there aren't many homes on the market today. So you have that low inventory, you have people coming off the fence. So we still have a larger amount of buyers looking today, right, for homes than we have inventory. So what do we see for the future, for the rest of 2023? As mentioned, it's actually going to be more of a market correction than a crash. What is a market crash? A market crash is when you start to see an influx, so an increase in foreclosures, which we are not seeing at the moment, right? I know so many people who were waiting last year until 2023 came in because they wanted to wait for these foreclosures to start hitting the market, and we don't see many of that. In a market crash, you also see that housing prices come down by 20 to 30%. We're not seeing that either. Housing prices are pretty steady, and I would say you're not seeing buyers offering $50,000 over asking. They are still offering over asking because the market this spring has become a little competitive, where now you're seeing those multiple offers come back. So for everyone who waited until spring to go house shopping, shame on you. You should have done it in the winter. But anyway, you're starting to see the price, over asking. So you're still seeing multiple offers. I think the last house my buyer made an offer on had about 10 offers. I've heard of other agents having 40 offers, on just one single house, and in those cases, someone's always over asking. So I'm not seeing much of the 50,000 over asking in South Jersey. Maybe 21,000. People have been going odd numbers, but they are still offering over in a multiple bid situation. So we're not seeing the three things that will draw a crash. We're not seeing the 20 to 30% decrease in housing prices. We're not seeing a decrease in home sales. And we're also not seeing an increase in foreclosures. So the anticipation of a crash is not anticipated or expected in 2023 in South Jersey. Lawrence Yun, who is the chief economist, and he oversees the research group for the National Association of Realtors. Let me tell you what he said. He feels that home prices will actually be steady in most parts of the country, with minor changes in the national median home sales. So I can say our median home sale price here in South Jersey has gone up. I remembered a few years ago, I'm not going to say maybe, you could find a home in South Jersey for less than $150,000, and it would be updated, sometimes newly renovated, but definitely move-in ready. Today in South Jersey, that median home sale price is going to be somewhere around $280,000 in order for you to get a home that you don't need to do anything to it, and it's move-in ready. And I can't promise you that it will be totally renovated. That depends on what area in South Jersey you're looking to purchase in. Most of the homes that I see that are even just 2 bedrooms, and maybe 1,100 square feet are still selling for that $275, $280 price point. So Mr. Yan concurs that prices will see gains or declines depending on the region, depending on the area that you're looking to purchase in. And what he's also saying is that you will begin to see prices not really decline for the most part. They're going to actually increase for the housing price sales, or for the houses that are more like in that lower price point or median price point. But then the houses that are in the higher price points, you will start to see that those may come down. So let's look at that $2 million home. Maybe that $2 million home you'll be able to get for $1.7 million. But that house that you can buy for $275,000, you'll notice that it's selling for $300,000, right? So if I were you, I wouldn't wait to purchase a home. I think the smartest thing you could do in today's market is have your budget, work your numbers, know where you want to live, and know what you need. And I'm going to say what you need, not necessarily what you want, right? Because I'm a firm believer that if you can purchase a home and own a piece of real estate for the same or less than what you pay in rent, or maybe you're in a situation where you're relocating and maybe your mortgage payment is going to be $100 more than what you pay in rent, but now you're relocating to a different area and you'll be able to live in your own place, own your own piece of real estate. I think that that's the smartest thing that you could do, is work your budget, know what you need, and then find an area that works for you and is going to give you a house within your budget. If you're looking to sell a home, the best advice that I can give you is to make sure that your home, even if you do not have the funds to update it or make all of the repairs to it, make sure that you declutter, that your home is clean, and that you put everything in its place, so that way a buyer can take a look. Of course, buyers today, I believe that you guys mostly want something that's move-in ready. I think most of my buyers are okay with changing carpet, painting, but I don't get many that want to do a whole full project, like a bathroom renovation. It could be a bathroom that has older blue or pink tiles, but they can live in it for a little bit and change it over time, but it definitely needs to be functional. For my investors out there looking to invest in South Jersey, not all of the places in MLS and on the market are considered great deals, and you are competing against other investors as well. So same thing, have your budget, know what you want to spend, and we can help you find that. So for the future, what we see here in South Jersey is that our builders have come back. We have a lot of new construction going on. We also have a lot of 55 plus communities being built. We have some affordable housing projects as well for rentals being built. We have townhome communities being built, and of course our single family homes. And this is happening throughout several different counties and towns in South Jersey. So again, if you have that time frame where you want to do new construction, they've come back. I can't say that new construction is where you have all those deals. You get a finished basement and all of these upgrades now for this lower price. I haven't been seeing that, but they are starting to build in South Jersey. So I'm telling you right now, to find your new home in South Jersey can be challenging. How do you know how to navigate through all these different areas and what each area has to offer? So be sure that you reach out. Let us know what it is that you're looking for, what's important to you, whether you need to be close to work, close to family, close to friends, or you need to be closer to the major highways, or maybe you're looking for some yard or quiet area or sidewalks so you can take walks on. Whatever you're looking for, let us know and we'll be able to direct you to some areas that you should explore. Many times we get buyers who just come to us and they already think that they want to live in a certain area, but based on what they tell us they're looking for, we have them explore some other areas and they actually fall in love with them. And then that's where they choose to move. So whatever your lifestyle is and whatever you're looking for, just let us know and we'll be able to instantly let you know what areas you should explore. But the only way that we can help you is if you reach out. So call, text, email, day, weekends, and nights, and we'll be sure to get you living in South Jersey. So remember, we got your back when you move into South Jersey.